Alright, so this is a 2006 Yamaha Sparrow, the XT225. I'm going to be doing some suspension work to it. I just want to get a before and after. So this is before any suspension work. I plan on tightening up the rear adjustment. I'm not putting any big money into that. And then in the front, I'm going to be switching out the old 10 weight oil for 15 weight oil. And I'll also be putting in a 1.3 inch PVC spacer. So we'll get a before and after. So you can see the rear sags really crazy. I'm 230 pounds, so I'm a little too big for the bike, but we're gonna make it work. And then you can see the amount of front dive. It's just super spongy. Fender almost touches the wheel. So get a little bit of elbow grease in here, see what we can do with it. All right, back on the XT225. We're got the rear wheel off here. Gonna do the rear shock adjustment. So in here, you can see there's two rings. I've already loosened it. It took some little bit of heat, a little bit of WD-40. For those of you who aren't familiar, this is a adjustment tool. So you can see it's got the post end here, holds onto the shock there. The one for this bike that worked was an ER40. See if I can do this one-handed. So I'm tightening up the top ring. So I had to loosen this ring first. And so it's not backwards or anything. It's clockwise, counterclockwise. So I had to back this one out to unlock it. And then I'm going in here, grabbing this one. Again, bear with me. This is not easy one-handed. All right. I can do it with this hand. Okay. And turn it. Focus. Okay. It locks a tooth into that gear. Focus. All right. And then you turn. And I'm going to max this out because I'm a big boy. So I'm going to take that up as high as I can. And I'll bring you back in when we get the front. All right. Next thing we're going to do is the front shocks. I've got the right side out. You've got two 10 millimeters here, two 12 millimeters here. Shock slides right out. In here, you can see there's a little retainer ring. So what I'm going to have to do, I'm doing this off camera, is I'm going to push this cap down and I'm going to pull, let's see if I can zoom in here. I'm going to pull that retainer ring out with a pick tool once this entire plunger is pushed down, and then the whole thing will slide out. Right now, you can see I can compress this with just a little bit of weight from my hand. It's bad. So let me get this out, and I will show you how I'm going to space that out. All right, so a quick little hack. Every time I went to compress this by pushing this down against the floor, it compressed the shock. It wouldn't let this push down. So I put it back in down here just so I could push that in just far enough. And as you can see, I got that retaining ring out. I just took a pick tool and slid down over the top of it and pulled it out. Got it out that way. All right, let me get it off the bike, and then we will do the internals and the new 15 weight fork oil instead of the 10 weight. Again, I'm 230 pounds, 6'4", so this bike was definitely set up for someone who weighed 120 pounds. We're gonna fix that. All right, we got the cap off, springs exposed. I drained out the oil. You get an Allen down in the bottom here, and remove that bolt, drain out your oil. That's also the engine oil. I'm now going to fill that back up. We have 15 weight fork oil, and we're going to fill that up. I'll get the measurements online, and then we're going to be installing our PVC spacers. All right, so I pulled up the conversion. We are looking at 355 milliliters, which is 12 fluid ounces. We're going to be putting it right down the yap, right down the top here. This decompresses, and the spring, let's see, there we go. Spring goes back in once that decompresses. So we're going to be putting 355 mil right down into there, and then I'll see if I can show you how I'm doing the spacer. That's going to be fun.
You've had some of the craziest business moves, like.
All right, so the last and most difficult part of this, we're going to take this. It is a fitting for PVC. See if I can get some measurements here. I don't have a tripod, y'all. You're going to have to deal with me doing most of this off camera, but you're getting the info. I'm measuring it here. So it is 1 inch and 5/8 long, and it is 1 inch and 1/4 across. All right, that will fit right down in there, and we're going to compress that down into the tube, and we're going to put this back on top of it, and then we're going to add the lock washer back in on top. Again, this is going to be a pain in the ass, so I'm doing this off camera. I'm going to put a rubber boot on here. This is just lightly in there to fill it, but I'm going to have to crank down on it because I'm going to be pushing like hell to get that compressed down. So I'm going to wrap this in rubber, clamp it down, and then put this in. And that's how you do both sides. The other side, you're just going to have to disconnect the caliper. Everything should go in. So I'll come back to you, and then we'll do the final compression test. See how it compares before and after. All right. So we got front forks put back together, back on. Again, we put in that 1 1/4 or 1.5 inch spacer. That's just like a PVC female to female fitting. So it just fit perfectly. So that's going to be how I run it. So far, real happy before I turn the camera on here. I also turned the rebound all the way down on the rear. So that's at the lowest point where it mounts to the swing arm. There's another dial that when it's not under load, you can turn it easily. They said online it was counterclockwise all the way out until it stopped. That's the slowest rebound you can see in comparison to the beginning of this video. Also, it's much stiffer now. So the rear, you can see how much slower it rebounds back. Kind of just gives it a nice stiff feel. So for someone my size, that's a lot nicer, and the front is fantastic now. Before, when I sat on the bike, the kickstand would hit the ground, and the front, I really got to lean on it now. So the preload's way up, and then that rebound's a lot slower and a lot firmer with that 15 weight oil. So definitely some odds if you're a bigger person. I would suggest them. Yeah, I guess maybe next video I'll throw up will be going out and having a little fun on it. Hope that helped.